Oh, welcome. No, you're right on time for your appointment. I'm just cleaning off my table a little bit here before we get started. Clearing out some of the energies from my last reading, you know. Yeah, it shouldn't take too long. Okay. That should do it. All right. So today, are we doing a Garf reading for you? Is that right? Good. Well, yeah, go ahead and set some intentions right now about, you know, what you need clarity on and some guidance on, and I'm gonna just go ahead and get set up. Good. Okay. Well, now to get started, we will need to light the ceremonial orange taper candle. Now, these are imperative for a Garf reading because, you know, they have the lasagna essence to them. They have, you know, it's a color that really exudes confidence and helps with mental clarity and, you know, straightforward guidance as well. So we'll do a couple of these. Good. Smells like lasagna. For a Garf reading, we're also going to need some Italian seasoning. Now, this will be sprinkled around our quartz crystal, which I think I've got. Yep, I got my quartz crystal right here. Let me take this out of the bag first. Good. And I'm going to just put that, I think, right up here. And we'll just get a good sprinkling of that Italian seasoning. great. Okay, and then most importantly, we're going to need our Garf deck, and you know, this is not a traditional, like a tarot reading, if you will, but when we are calling upon the Garfield Oracle, if you will, you're going to want to use the traditional Odie-made deck. So, alright, and so what I want you to do is place your hand on these when I hand them over to you, and you know, either say it out loud or just to yourself the following phrase, and really try and have a focused moment where you're really putting your intentions into these cards. And I'm going to just do a brief shuffle before we get started. Okay. Alright, so take that and say, I call upon the wisdom of Garfield and friends, and the eternal power of Lasagna, to share insights with clarity and humor. May the answers bring guidance, comfort, and a disdain for Mondays. Great. Now, we do need to get these shuffled. Now, I have just started doing Garf readings about 2.5 years ago, so I don't get many requests for them, so I may have to refer to some notes here and there as to how to read some of these cards. Most of them I have memorized, but it's just been a little while since I've done one of these. But it is kind of one of my favorite readings to do. I don't know why more folks don't ask for this more often. Okay, I'm going to place these on the quartz, balanced in the middle. Alright, so start to think about the question that you are hoping to formulate and want to ask the deck today. Okay, now go ahead and touch the deck. Oh, there you go. Oh, you want to know what your career life holds. Interesting. You know, let's just do a quick past, present, and future draw here. Past, the present, and the future. Oh, wow. Okay, we have facing in your direction the Odie-made, the Space Mutt, and the morning cat. Wow, this is a very interesting draw. Now, what we've got here is, you know, starting out, I would say, with the morning cat. Now, this Garfield, as you can see through his expressions, he's grumpy. He's not excited to be up. He's, you know, still got his bunny slippers on, and his jammies, and, you know, he's in a period in his life, such as you at the moment, where you're having trouble getting going and you're not feeling very inspired in your day-to-day. Now, this is an instance where when that happens, you know, the morning cat can kind of make you feel shut in, stuck, hard to find motivation to make that next move. But when it's faced in this direction, it's okay, because it is also a sense of cause and effect. So you are feeling this way right now in your career, is that correct? With morning cat, you know, that's really a reflection, you know, in this orientation, straight on towards you, where, you know, that's a good moment of self-reflection to where you are realizing that something needs to change, right? And what that something is perhaps moving into the present where you're not exactly sure. So we have the reversed space mud. Now, just because it's reversed doesn't automatically mean you're not in outer space. Whereas, oh, let me see what reversed space mud means again. It's been a minute. Oh. Okay. I think that probably makes sense of why this is the present, because reverse space mud is showing a level of discouragement. So what is it that you're feeling discouraged about? Is it related to your current position and your current job? Yeah, you know, it's not a bad draw, because it's only going to really reinforce that it is, you know, you're discouraged in your current life, day-to-day career, that maybe this is showing you that you do need to have some reflection in order to know to take the next step, right? So space mud, in the space mud reverse, it's showing that, you know, you're feeling like there's some unhappiness there, right? But the fact that it's reversed is also showing that you're not blind to the fact that this is happening, because when it's in its you know, upright orientation, it's standard, that means you're in outer space. You're not even thinking about it, right? You're not even acknowledging what needs to be done. So I feel like, you know, this reading, when we're looking at the reverse space mud, you recognize what needs to be done, where you have been, where you need to go, bringing us to a reversed OD made. Now, I know it can be a little discouraging when you have an OD made pulled, because you might think, oh, is this an instance where, you know, it's reversed? Oh, great, I'm not going to be an OD made myself. But that's not how we interpret OD made. No, it's actually showing, you know, similar to an empress, right? You've got the reverse OD made, so you're having some of a creative block, right? And that's going to be carried out into the future, this creative block. So you need to figure out such a way in which that you can, you know, reflect on what you have been doing and how it's gotten you kind of down into a bit of a rut. Your head's not in outer space, but you are a little bit discouraged. Now, how do you get that creative block unblocked? I can't answer that with these cards. That's something where you're going to need to do some soul searching and some figuring out of a way in which to, you know, be able to get that fixed, right? Now, it can also be with the reverse Odie made. It can also be a sign of, you know, dependence on others. Does that resonate with you? Do you see where, you know, if you're going into the future where a dependence on others might hinder your progress in career? Yeah. So I actually feel pretty good about this reading. How do you feel about it? Did that answer the questions that you had about your career? Past, present, and future? Great. Okay. Well, good. I think we have time for at least one more reading here. While I get these shuffled, I want you to think about your next question, what you hope to get out of it, what, you know, where you're at, how you might apply what you just learned about your career advice from the deck. And these are so hard to shuffle. And then, you know, how that's going to play into what your next question is as well. Okay. Let me just get these shuffled here. Oh, getting a little bit of Italian seasoning on the cards. It's okay if that happens, but you don't want to do that too much. Okay. Now, all right, now think about what you want to ask this time. And go ahead and put your hand on the card. We do need to call upon the cards again, so if you can repeat after me. I call upon the wisdom of Garfield and friends and the eternal power of Lasagna to share insights with clarity and humor. May the answers bring guidance, comfort, and a disdain for Mondays. All right, go ahead and ask. How's the old love life? Okay, well, that is a loaded question that usually I would save for a longer appointment where we would do a 10-card draw. But how's the old love life? I could just give you a brief synopsis with a 3-card pull here. But let's see. Okay. Wildcat, bad cat, and the Odie maid. Again, reverse. Okay. Well, at first glance, this seems troubling, right? But, in fact, we are looking here at almost a system of patterns. Pattern recognition is going to be very important for this draw because the old love life bleeds into the new love life. You know what I mean? So, taking a look at this, the first thing that I'm seeing over here is you know, going from Wildcat as the past. Now this is a reverse, or no, sorry. This is actually your only non-reverse card pull in this reading here. So what does that mean? What does Wildcat mean reversed? Well, you know, when it's in its upright position, Wildcat alludes to a sense of escapism and abandonment. So how does that resonate with you and your previous relationships? Have you abandoned them? Did you have a fear of commitment, perhaps? Or was it a situation where, you know, you didn't feel like you wanted to be abandoned, or you had a fear of that escapism? Which one is it? Was that you or your partner? Okay. So with the Wildcat, when it's in its upright, you need to really take a moment to reflect on what this means for moving into your future relationships. Having a moment to reflect on the past, where, you know, you've got such a powerful figure, and perhaps this is not just in your love life, but in your broader life, where you've got a powerful figure and you've got that fear of abandonment, right? And that's an understandable issue and very common in most relationships. But when it's in its reverse, right, which this is not, you actually have more of an issue with temptation. So you, in a relationship, are stable. You resist temptation, and you know, you have some fears. You have maybe some trust issues in there, but in such a way that someone in a relationship with you can count on you and trust you. So that is the past. Moving into the present, we have a reverse bad cat. Now, with the reverse bad cat, you might be thinking, oh, great, it's reversed. Automatically, that's going to be a good thing, right? So, good cat. No, I'm afraid not, because the bad cat in its reverse really shows a sense of lack of closure and lack of completion. So, you know, think of this as almost the world. If you were looking at a traditional deck, right? So, with the bad cat in the reverse and your, you know, Wildcat first part of the drawing, I'm seeing that there's probably a need for you to not wait much longer. And I don't know if it's reaching out to someone in your life where you need to have that closure. Is this from a relationship? Is it from a friendship? By doing that, you will have a sense of closure and then a way to be able to move on into the future, right? So, bad cat in itself, the completion, the closure, the ability to move on, the accomplishment, that hasn't been done, and that needs to be done in order to move on, right? So, you know, you've got abandonment. Who is the responsible for that? Get that closure, move on. But then what is it that we're moving on to? We've got a reverse Odie made. I don't know how you've pulled this basically Empress card twice now, but I think it's a good sign that it's in the reverse, because that means that, you know, you've got this dependence on others, okay? What is that about? How does that resonate with you? What does this dependence on others have to do with the abandonment issue and not getting closure? So, it would be wise to, you know, do what you need to do now about getting that closure, right? And then getting to a point where you feel like, I don't need to depend on anyone else. I can depend on me, right? I'm not going to abandon me, right? I'm not going to leave me hanging, right? So, I wasn't sure about this reading at first, but I feel like the Garf deck has really spoken to some patterns that you've got in, the way in which you react, depend on others, and how might you go about, really, really being mindful of that moving forward. Okay. Well, this has been, hopefully an informative reading for you. That will be $57, and if you want to make an appointment, we can get that set up now as well. Okay, great. Thanks. Oh, you're right on time. Come on in. And you're here for your 1 o'clock Garfield reading. Is that right? Yes, well, just have a seat right there and give me a moment to prepare the table before we get started today. Now, I've had another reading where it was a Muppet Babies reading, and so there was a little bit of fabric left over on the table here, so just bear with me for a moment as I get this removed. Start to think about what kind of questions you want to ask the deck today. I'll go ahead and get everything set up. We'll just need a little bit of Italian seasoning. You know the drill. Fragrant. Now I just have to light these orange candles. Quartz crystal goes there, and the stone goes here. And now I gotta get the deck, excuse me. I just have to clear out any previous readings before we get yours started. Okay, now I light these candles, and then I'll need you to repeat after me. Okay. Okay. I call upon the wisdom of Garfield and friends, and the eternal power of Lasagna, to share insights and clarity and humor, and may the answers bring guidance, comfort, and a disdain for Mondays. Okay. And blow out the candle. Good. Okay, I just need to get these shuffled real quick here. Okay. Now, did you think about what you wanted to ask? Yeah, keep in mind it shouldn't necessarily be a yes or no question. The open-ended ones. Right, right. Okay. Okay, this first reading is a 3-card draw. And what would you like to ask the deck? Okay. What is your true purpose and the next steps for your career? Wow, that's a pretty popular one. Let's see here. And the cat. Space mutt. Okay, okay. Now, here's what we have. At first glance, this could look a little concerning. We have the upside down Garfield, the con cat, going into a knitting kitty, over to a reverse space mutt, which is the Odie. Okay, so here's what I'm getting from this reading. Now, starting with the Concat, because it is reversed, I'm feeling like this is a good indicator that you're on a path to something a little more standard. Think something like a administrative position, something standard office job, because in the reverse orientation, especially pulling a Garfield Concat, we see an honest living. So I am glad to see that. You know, if you pull that in its regular orientation, it could mean not necessarily a life of crime, but, you know, doing some swindles. So if you're currently swindling, this would be a good time to set that aside and move on to something that's, you know, an honest day's work, right? Yeah, it looks like it's time to move on from the Revitaleak face mask distributor, door-to-door salesperson, and into something a little bit more, that's where we come into Knitting Kitty here, something normal, or normal, if you will. So Knitting Kitty, that's not necessarily meaning something in the fabric arts or something where you are actually knitting. Think of it more as weaving together a number of different tasks and ways that you can have income day to day. So you are going to have to, I guess, just have a number of different jobs, each one on the side of the other, right? And that's going to knit together the honest income for you for the day-to-day. Now, the other thing with the normal card being in this orientation, I think it is important to note, especially that the knitting ball is underneath normal. So this is showing how you can have control of that situation where you are on top of your day-to-day income, your ways to you know, contribute to that in an honest fashion. So Knitting Kitty, I feel like that's a good indicator of where you want to go in the future, where you are now, but also where you want to go. Which leads us to Space Mutt. Now we've got a reverse Odie here. Reverse Odie Space Mutt. And I think, again, this drawing back to Concat, where you are going to be, you know, planted in reality. A position to where you're doing something where you're, again, weaving together a number of different things. You're knitting a tapestry, if you will, of income. And you want to do that in the real world, not in outer space. And what you really don't want to do is go into space as an untrained astronaut. That's what Odie is kind of doing here. He's, especially in the reverse orientation, it's showing, not a very down-to-earth approach to what your career prospects should be, how you should be engaging with Earth, right? And, you know, sometimes the space mutt can be good, especially in career orientation or in the standard orientation, because what you'll find sometimes is that you've got folks that need to go out on a limb, but not you in this case. You want to weave together a tapestry of sources of income in order to get by. Honest income. Keep it grounded. Okay. I mean, that was pretty quick. That's just your 3 card, but does that give you some good insights? Okay. Yes, and then again, this knitting kitty, the normal cat in control. You're on top of the tasks at hand, right? You're in control of it. Okay? Keep it down to earth. Okay. I'm going to have to shuffle these again before your next draw on here. Okay, and this is going to be your 10 card draw. So what did you want to ask for that? What is standing in the way of your success? You know, that's another loaded one for sure. Okay. So what is standing in your way? Okay. Wow, okay. Well, this is a doozy. But let's get into it. Okay. Starting off, okay. Starting off with the Bat Cat. Now, this is, it's not necessarily bad, okay, that you've got Bat Cat here. It's Garfield. He's being a little sinister. He's, you know, hiding behind his cape, right? However, it's really, in this orientation, showing that it's more of a catalyst for change, right? This is more of a new beginning in this orientation. So you've got the Bat Cat, and the bat, in this instance, is it's turning into a vampire. You've got the bat, and then it becomes the vampire, or the vampire becomes the bat. So you have these metamorphosis, if you will, of change and new beginnings. So this is good. This is actually good, and it really shows how whether or not something is standing in your way. Is it you? Is it an attitude? Is it someone else? Is it others? it doesn't matter because you are your own catalyst for change. You are your own bat. You are your own vampire, right? So, this is good. This is good. However, we move over into the reverse Odie maid. And sometimes in the reverse orientation, Odie can be seen as temptation, right? It can be viewed as not having balance, but having the femininity to know what abundance is. So it's reversed. We want to interpret this as going from your change, right? Your catalyst for change, your new beginning, into a feminine nature, but balanced out within that change of that dog in you, right? Because it's Odie. So, not necessarily bad, but it's going to be a challenging transition as you recognize the need to change and then how to get there. Knowing your need for abundance, right? But then that temptation to stay the same, right? So balancing those two out. Then we come into Concat. We saw Concat before. And in this reading, Concat reversed is another good sign. So I'm happy to tell you that. Now Concat here means that you shouldn't be getting in your own way. You are your own con, because we have the Odie and the con in here. So change, you not getting in your own way, and keeping that in mind so you can reach that abundance, right? So there's that. You're not going to get in your own way. So there's answer one. You're not getting in your own way. Who is? What is? We move over to Morning Cat. Now, Morning Cat in this orientation is showing that you're going into a new journey, right? Morning Cat is reflective of the change of Bat Cat. And so, Garfield, not a morning person, not a Monday person, but you know that you're not in your own way, so you have to face that. So you just put on your little bunny slippers. You've got your nightgown on, your gown, your evening gown. Not an evening gown like a dress, but a nightgown. And you'll need to face those changes head on, okay? That's why this is facing you, right? So it's not bad, but it does show that there's a reluctance to change and that you need to face it head on. So then what is getting in your way? Well, Betty Bear's facing you. Betty Bear in this sense is really part of a new journey. So that's good that it's this orientation. But it's also taking a leap of faith. And so I think while it's not you necessarily getting in your own way, you have to face it, but you have to take a leap of faith as well. So Betty Bear here and Morning Cat, that shows a strong yearning to keep things as they are, right? But you're willing to change and you're not getting in your own way, but you know that, right? These are all of these are facing you. So Morning Cat, Garfield's and Pookie. Now Pookie in this case is a representation of taking a leap of faith because, you've got, what is it that you're holding on to? What is it that you can't give up right now? If you need to make that change, what is the Pookie teddy bear that you are grasping onto that's maybe holding you back, right? So that could be where masked mutt comes in. So there's some reluctance, there's a leap of faith. But who's the masked mutt? Well, it's facing you, right? And the reason why it's facing you is because maybe the you that you are needs a little disguise. You need to have some magic, some alchemy, some something that feels like it gives you power and strength. Now, is it a disguise? Is it a new bob haircut? I don't know. The deck can't answer that for you, but it's something that you should reflect on. So, in order to take a leap of faith, make that change, know that it's time to do that, and you're not standing in your way. What is something that will help you to feel empowered, feel like you have the confidence to make that change, right? Is it a mask? Is it a power, a suit, a new suit, a haircut, a makeover? What about a signature hat? I don't know. You're gonna have to search for what that is, but something that feels like it gives you that inner strength to make that change. Now, Smart Cat. I'm thrilled to see that this is in this orientation, because this is showing me that you have the self-awareness, right? You've got the self-awareness to know that you shouldn't be getting in your own way. And you're not getting in your own way, right? But sometimes that can be a little challenging in this orientation, because it's showing that perhaps you're not willing to take a leap of faith because you're trying to overthink, right? Yeah, that's a recurring theme with you, right? The overthinking. How to make these choices. What should I do? So it might not be a bad idea to, in your masked mutt drawing here, as part of change, as recognizing the need to change, as not getting in your way, maybe you really listen to the Smart Cat and know that, if I'm so self-aware and I know I need to have something to give me strength and change, what would that be? Maybe it's something very different than what you've got now, I don't know. So, self-awareness, it's good in doses. Too much of it can lead to a blockage, a resistance to change, right? Overthinking it, taking too long to make that step from bat to vampire, right? Getting out of your comfort zone. Monday morning, cat snuggled in the bed. Letting go of old habits, old crutches, etc. that you feel like are keeping you, stuck in place. And then what's going to help you? What's going to help you make that change? Is it something, a physical appearance, a mental change, something as simple as changing your morning routine? I don't know. But don't overthink it. So you're not getting in your way. You have tools and you have awareness to know what you need to do to help make those changes, right? Okay, and then moving into Wildcat here. In this orientation, it's pretty evident that you are going to have a challenging time moving ahead and moving along with this transformation of whatever it is that's holding you back. So, reversed, you would find yourself having more of a smooth transition, right? So the fact that it's Garfield And, you know, it's showing the lion, which is a sign of power. It can also be a sign of struggle and resistance, because there's going to be, you know, it's like you're putting up a fight, right? This is really representing. So what is getting in your way? Is it your career? Is it those prospects? Is it a relationship? Is it, you know, your family? Is it somebody named Jim? I don't know. But you are going to have something that will make this change and transformation, what's getting in your way, a little bit more difficult in this orientation. Now, that's where, again, this is kind of reiterating how things might be challenging outside of your control, right? You've got Knitting Kitty again. Now Knitting Kitty is in the reverse orientation, which, you know, if it's facing you, you've got more control of the situation. It represents, you know, willpower, victory, assertion, and determination. But as we can see here, we've got outside forces, things that are wild, things that are outside of your control, causing you to then lack control. And that's also going to be something that controls a lack of direction. So don't get caught up in not having a lack of direction and the outside forces, you know, getting into not letting you be successful, because you have that self-awareness to know that if it's not you, you know, some things might be outside of your control. So it's not going to be easy, just like most things, right? But making these changes and transformations, letting things go, having that awareness to know that you need to make the changes, and there will be outside forces that play into that. Okay, but then making things a little bit more difficult, the lack of control, the outside forces. You have the orientation of cow cat. Now, cowboy cat, you can think, you know, you might automatically say, oh, I'm on the range, I'm reeling it in, I'm getting control of the situation. Unfortunately, in this orientation, it's actually showing a sense of suspension, restriction. So, you know, facing you, you have to know that your values alignment might be something that plays into the wildcat, the outside forces, the things outside of your control. So, how do we put all this together? Because, you know, it's what's standing in your way. Well, one thing we know is not standing in your way is your awareness that it's you, that you have the willingness to change. You have that understanding that you need to let go of things and, you know, go out on a limb, right? Take a leap of faith. But in taking that leap of faith, there might be some outside forces that slow you down or change, you know, might get in the way of your success. So, what's getting in the way of your success? Not necessarily you, but outside forces. Maybe some guy named Jim, like I said, I don't know. You're not going to be able to do it, reel it in easy. There will be things you need to mend together to get that control, but just being aware that you don't have control is a first step, right? Okay, yeah. Wow. I think we have time. I think we have time for one more, and you wanted to do just a quick question. Okay. Let me just get these back here. Let me just pick up a little bit of the Italian seasoning. Okay. So you got more of a yes or no question. Again, it's not really how it works. It's something you just kind of look for guidance on. Okay. Well, how about I just do a Garf roll? Let's see. Let's see what we get. Okay, so what is the question? Okay. Should you move in with your boyfriend? You know, let's see. Let's see. Let me ask. I'm just going to shake these up and we'll see how they land. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm going to start with our upright Garf here. Now, this is a Garfield of protection. He's wearing a helmet, okay? He's got the knee pads on, his cat knees, and generally you would find him on a skateboard, right? Garfield seems like he's a lazy cat, right? But he's actually quite active and athletic when he wants to be, just like most cats. So, what this is showing me right away, first thing I noticed, we've got a protection sort of feeling coming from this reading. And I don't mean that in a concerning way, but more so protecting your space, right? So where you live now, you've got your own room, right? You have your own decor, your own sort of your own style of things, right? And so in a combination of households, you're going to lose out generally on some of the things that make your space feel like your own, right? So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but something to consider is the reason this is facing up is really to give you awareness of the protection of your own space. What makes you you? What makes your home and your current roommate situation comfortable for you, and how might that change if you were to move in with your boyfriend? Moving over here, we've got the face down cowboy. That's not necessarily a cowboy. The outdoorsman. Garfield the outdoorsman. It's face down. So, at first I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, it's face down as a way of not letting someone in, right? So is there a sense of reservation around moving in? I mean, there's got to be a little bit because you're asking that question, right? It's not a resounding yes, but it is a big deal, right? So you want to preserve, and you are feeling like you don't necessarily want to let someone in maybe that much. Is that right? Does that resonate with you? Yeah. So the other thing that you could interpret, though, with the outdoor face down is the fact that it's maybe not as much as a sense of you trying to protect from the outside, but also going inwards. And so that's perhaps being, in a couple, a relationship with someone. When you are in the same household, perhaps you're staying in, right? You're not going out. You're getting a movie from Blockbuster and having a little pizza party, but it feels nice, and it's actually what you want to do. And you're not going outside. You're not getting out. But it's important too to protect who you are, right? The protection. protect who you are and still do the things that you enjoy, whether it's skateboarding, right? Or whatever it may be outside of that relationship, because then you're protecting your own identity and things that make you you, not outside of a relationship, right? But that dynamic can change when there is moving it together. Then, coming over here, we also have face down the leap. Okay? This guy's jumping for joy. This Garfield is elated. And it's face down. So, I'm not saying that that's concerning, but it's showing me there's a lot of reservation here. So, if there's that much reservation, wanting to preserve, your identity, who you are, wanting that time together, being, inside together, but also not wanting to let someone in from the outside too much, with them taking that step further, right? It's a lot of time together when you're in a household with someone. The leap of faith here is showing me that you're not maybe ready for it, right? It's facing down. Or, this is not for me to tell you, but for you to interpret. Perhaps it's facing down because you're sure of it. If it was facing up, maybe you're unsure, but facing down, you're totally sure, right? So, it's not really a yes or no. You take that information, interpret it how you want, and then make an educated decision from there to help guide you to your next move, right? Well, I hope all this was very informative for you. Yeah, that was the first time we did the Garf readings with these. A couple of card readings. But yeah, I hope this gives you some good guidance and a good way forward. All right. All right, well, that's it. Have a great afternoon. We're on. Good afternoon, and welcome to Teeny's Tarot Corner. You can find me now every Friday afternoon on Public Access 12, or this upcoming Tuesday at the Circus Reno, Nevada, underneath the clown entrance. So we'll go ahead and get started, get the table set up. Today we're prepared for some Garfield related tarot readings, and we will be taking calls from anyone that would like to call in. So, to clear out a little bit of dust on my table. Okay. All right. This is our first time doing the live show on Public Access 12. I do hope that you'll call in, and no prank calls, please. I do want to be invited back. Okay. Now to prepare the table. For Garfield readings today, I have the Odie Made Tarot deck, or the Garf casting pieces as well. So let me know what you would like to see, or what kind of reading you would like. And just get my candles ready. They have to be orange. Oops. Okay. And I forgot to bring my Italian seasoning into the studio today. So we'll just have to make do and hopefully get some good, accurate readings, even though we are missing the Italian seasoning. All right. I call upon the wisdom of Garfield and friends, and the eternal power of lasagna to share insights with clarity and humor. May the answers bring guidance, comfort, and a disdain for Mondays. Okay, let's begin. Well, all right. We are ready for your calls. Oh. Yes, caller, go ahead.
So, as summer's ending and it feels like we're coming into fall here before too long, to go along with the season of change, I feel as if I need to go through a major change, and
yes.
I feel like it would be wisest for me to consult first about this. So, I don't know if there might be any insight into what kind of drastic hair changes might be wise for me this coming season. Specifically thinking about maybe an interesting color or maybe a chop. Either way, I'm definitely looking for an appearance change, even if that might be like a new piercing or tattoo or maybe a style mix-up or something like that. Anyway, I felt that definitely consulting with the tarot deck, specifically the Garfield tarot deck, might bring the right insight into this big decision.
Right. All right, well, let's take a look. Yes, well, it sounds like you're interested in a change, for sure. And going into a new season is always a good time to try something new, maybe make a change. But let's see what the cards have to say about that. I will have to draw these for you, but just go ahead and take a look at your television set. Put a lot of intention right here. Okay. Ooh. A double wildcat. Wow. How about that? Right off the bat here, like I said, I'm seeing a double wildcat. That's 2 wildcats in your 3-card pool. Almost unheard of. Now, I feel as though because you were talking about making a change, and a big change, I think Batcat and the 2 wildcats are telling me perhaps it is going to be a large change. Now, you had mentioned a haircut, and we can see that we've got the Batcat over here facing you. This is the orientation where it's facing you. Now, if this was in the reverse orientation, I would say go ahead. Get 2 tattoos, maybe 2 piercings even, for the double wildcat. But the fact that the Batcat is facing you tells me that perhaps part of this change might need to come from the inside. So while a physical change can give you that immediate sense of a new you or a new look or a change of the seasons, the bat cat facing you in this orientation tells me that perhaps that change needs to come from within. Now, I think because you've got the two wildcats in the orientation facing you, I wouldn't say that it negates the change from within, but it does say that perhaps the change might be something a little out of the ordinary, and perhaps even symmetrical. So you might get a haircut and a piercing, or perhaps you get both of your ears pierced, or maybe it's a situation where with the double wildcat you have a mullet look even. That's very popular these days, where it's wild in the front and different in the back. So a lot to consider here with this 3-card pull. It is telling me that change is evident, right? And it will be something a little wild, but the change should be coming from within. Now, one thing to consider that isn't really coming from the cards is that perhaps if you are considering getting a tattoo, it is still summertime. It's not fall quite yet. And there may be an instance where you do want to go swimming in a lake, perhaps even a pool. And I believe if you have a tattoo, you can't do that for at least a month, 30 days or something like that, a couple of weeks while it heals. So just something to keep in mind as you choose this change that might be a catalyst for your wild changes come this fall. Okay. I hope that provides a little bit of insight, and thank you so much for your call. Wow, 2 wildcats. How wild was that? Oh, we have another caller. Go ahead.
Hi, I've been a huge fan for so long, and I'm currently having issues with my job. I'm having some financial struggles and also just issues with my management. One of my favorite managers actually quit today, which is very unfortunate. So what I would like to ask Garfield is if I should stay at this job or if I should find somewhere else. Thank you so much.
Okay. We'll go ahead and take a look at the cards. And with all your intention, we're asking the Garf deck here, should you stay or should you go? Always a tricky decision. And again, that's a great question for the deck. It's not really a yes or a no, but let's just do a quick 3-card to see. Ooh, okay. Okay, wow. Okay, wow. Well, right away, I'm seeing we have another bat cat. This is the catalyst for change, and it is in the reverse orientation. So that is showing me that change is afoot, right? So you've got a catalyst for change. You've got Odie, Basket Hound, also in the reverse. And then Roller Cat. We don't always see Arlene in this case, but I feel like this could be some helpful guidance because the reverse Bat Cat is showing me that there is a need for a change, or it is going to be very challenging for you to stay in this position and keep your cool. So struggles with management, leadership, all of that of the sort can always cause a feeling of unease and And with any job position you might be in, you do want to enjoy what you're doing, at least somewhat, as well as not dread going into work, right? So these are both in a reverse orientation, whereas Roller Cat is coming right at you. And I'm thinking with the Roller Cat here that this Garf deck is trying to say that you are going to be moving into a new direction. So that way you will remain in good spirits, right? And not take on the Odie Basket Hound slam dunk of a stressful breakdown due to your work environment. Now, that doesn't mean that you are necessarily leaving the position you're in, and it also doesn't mean that you have to even change jobs. Sometimes you have to change your attitude. Arlene here, you can see she is serving up a lot of attitude, and not in a way that she's being rude to her co-workers, customers, the people that she works with, the management, but she is confident in herself and her abilities to roller skate whilst carrying a milkshake, burger, and fries. Now, you can see this one coming at you right in the middle and thinking, oh, I guess I'm going to Sonic. I guess I'm going to be a car hop now. That could be it. That could be it. But I think it's a little bit deeper. And again, I know I mentioned this with the last caller. The Bat Cat in the reverse orientation, you think, okay, there's a change. Gotta happen. Facing you can sometimes mean it's more of an internal change, but I think it's a mix of both. Perhaps a change is needed, but also an attitude adjustment. So if there are people that you enjoy at your current position, in your current job, maybe focusing more so on the aspect of the parts that you do like, to not get so caught up in the parts that bring you distress, right? So something to consider. It might just be a change in attitude that would help you to stay in good spirits in your current position. But maybe something else will open up at the same job you're in now, or you work your way up to management and leadership, and then you make those rules. But you got to have a lot of attitude and a lot of confidence to do that, and that change comes from within. Okay, I hope that provides a little bit of guidance, and I hope you feel as though that you have a way to have fun outside of your day-to-day, the 9 to 5, whether that's roller skating, shooting some hoops, playing basketball, or pretending to be a vampire. So, something to consider. All right. Thank you so much for your call. Okay. Yes, go ahead.
First time caller. I'm here with my cat Lucy, who has a little bit of an attitude problem. When she goes outside in the yard,
Oh, boy.
she doesn't want to come back in and throws a large fit. Hissing, actually. A real hissy fit. And I'm hoping we can get a reading to maybe understand this behavior a little better. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and keep an eye on the television set here. Now, what's going on with Lucy and these hissy fits? You know, cats can be finicky. I'll tell you that right now. There are situations where, oh gosh, a cat will just be fine and dandy one day, and then the next, different attitude. And that's okay. They can they can do that. Okay. All right. So Lucy and her hissy fits. What is that about? Let's find out. Okay. I see. Okay. Well, right off the bat here, I can tell that you're in a bit of a pickle. I'm sensing here that Lucy might be a tortoiseshell cat. Is that right? Tortoiseshell cats can be a real handful, and you've got yourself a handful here. What this is showing me is that Lucy knows exactly what she's doing by throwing a fit and not coming in. She's smart, got 2 Garfields. That's a lot of attitude in one draw, in one 3-card draw. And she's smart enough to know that this hissy fit is going to get a reaction from you. And so she's putting on this show, this performance, if you will. I'm getting that from the masked mutt here, that she's really trying to not necessarily give you a hard time, but also make it so you stay outside with Lucy. So that's what it is. She's smart, she's conning you, and she's playing a part of someone that's trying to get you to play outside. So it's really not as much about Lucy as it is she's just looking for a playmate. She's looking for someone to dangle, a string, maybe throw a fish-shaped toy outside. So it could be a situation where Lucy likes to play al fresco, enjoying the outside air, and perhaps she wants you to enjoy it with her because she's smart. She knows that there's some vitamin D, maybe perhaps in the sun, fresh air, a good time, and she just wants to play with you. If it's not her trying to con you into playing outside, it could be that she's playing the part of your cat Lucy. And in fact, Lucy could be, reincarnated many times, and in a previous life, Lucy could have been a bird, or perhaps a koala bear, something else that lived outside full time. And so playing the part of a cat has been tricky. Now, I'm not an expert in that. You would have to contact, what's her name? Cynthia Beige. She's a pet psychic. It's a different realm of psychic that I am not. So, perhaps look her up in the phone book. But your cat Lucy just might want to play outside with you. That's all it is. Okay, but you've got a sassy, smart cat there, and that probably won't change. And I think because it's a tortoise shell, you're going to be dealing with this for a long time. Okay. Caller, you're on the air.
Hello. I love this channel with all my lasagna eating heart. I was wondering if you could help me with a work decision, specifically a college work decision. So,
oh wow.
I am going to need a job when I go to college this fall, and I was wondering if I should work on campus or off campus. If I were to work on campus, I'd be a tour guide. But if I work off campus, I'd have to really kind of look, and against all odds, I'd probably work at Walmart, which I'm kind of not super psyched about, but I could find a cool job. Anyways.
All right, well, go ahead and take a look at the television set. I'm kind of feeling like this might be more of a Garf casting inquiry. So it sounds like, do you want to do the work? Do you want to do an on-campus job? So doing tours, or will you be at Walmart? What's the better decision? Well, or is there another cool job out there? Let's find out. Okay. Off to a good start. This is the outdoorsman, Garf. He's coming right at you. I was a little worried he might be facing this way, which would tell me, oh, neither opportunity, neither place, you're not open to any ideas. Okay. Outdoorsman Garfield. He's facing you, coming right at the television set. He's open to opportunity. He's putting himself out there. I think that's already evident by you working while in college. That's a lot. You know, some folks might say, well, college, the classes are your job. Getting good grades, making friends and memories. Not all of us are that lucky, though, that we can just focus on that, and sometimes supplemental income is important, and working at the same time. I'm glad you're open to that. And the outdoorsman Garf here is showing me that you do have opportunities, and I'm kind of getting a very obvious reading here, but it's the outdoorsman Garf. Outside, outdoors. And you're talking about potentially doing some tours. Generally, college tour guides, they will show folks around campus, tell them where the quad is, you know, the dining hall, right? So you're outside, you're going on tours. You're going to really learn the lay of the land of your college, should you do that. The other thing it's showing me is that Protection Garfield is up and Leap of Faith Garfield is down. So Leap of Faith Garfield might be the interpretation that some other opportunity might come, you mentioned, or going to the Walmart, right? Perhaps you're not as really open to that as maybe you are sticking with the on-campus job. All of these jobs, whatever they may be, you're going to college, right? And that's working towards something in the future. And skating towards, there's our skating Protection Garfield with that, going towards something that's going to be more long-term in the future. So keep in mind that what you're doing now is temporary, not something you have to, don't feel like you need to overthink every career decision now. Whatever you do is just going to end up as a resume point when you're printing out your resume on your dot matrix printer and walking it up to the business you apply to and say, here's my resume, I want to work here, right? Because that's how that works. So Protection Garfield's up just by the orientation of these. The outdoorsman Garfield facing you a little bit separated from Leap of Faith Garfield and Protection Garfield. It sounds like perhaps going with the first opportunity that's outdoors, perhaps because it's a tour, might be a good option. However, maybe it's just because you're trying to play it safe, right? You'd be working for the university you're already going to, playing it safe. But Leap of Faith Garfield may one day change orientation, be face up, when you are ready for that opportunity that comes your way. So it's not a yes or no which one you should do. Just considering something that might be a little more inside your wheelhouse, a little more protective, a little more on campus, you know. And that's, of course, always something to consider. Oops. Because this is our skating Garfield. You know, do you have the transportation to get to this other opportunity, this Walmart, etc.? Is it public transportation? I don't know. I don't know the situation, but just something to consider. Okay. I hope that answers it somewhat. Either way, good on you. Good on you for getting your education, trying new things, and being open to opportunities. Okay. Oh, we've got another caller. Yeah, caller, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes. I'm calling in today to ask you and the cards, really, it's the cards, whether or not I should let go and forget about aunt number 614 from my aunt farm, who ran away a couple of weeks ago, or if I should hang on to her spiritually and emotionally and wait for her to come back to the nest I built. Aunt number 614, yes.
Wow. Well, go ahead and take a look at the television set. Thank you for your call. Aunt 614. Let me give these a quick shuffle here. And actually, we're talking about missing ants here, so I need a good shuffle mix up. Okay. It's not every day that a beloved ant goes missing. And I know while small, they can have a big heart and impact on you. I don't know this aunt that you have personally, but it sounds like they've really made an impact in your life. So, should you let this aunt go? Okay. Okay. Well, we've got a reverse Cap'n Cat, and it's right in the middle. So this is a little tricky. I'm seeing magic, masked mutt. We've got an Odie, 2 Garfields, and I think if you're talking about wanting to either move on from your missing aunt or wait for it to come back, Captain Cat says let it move on. Now, I don't know the circumstances in which this aunt left the colony, ant farm, whatever it may be, but in the reversed orientation here, I think they left to go on some uncharted territories. We've got the Garfield here with his peg leg sword and his hat, and he is pointing off into the distance. Had it been facing you and not in the reverse orientation, I say maybe, maybe that's you that needs to go off into that journey to find your missing aunt number 612, right? And then what I think you should consider, though, is that perhaps if you spiritually let go of this aunt, it might just find its way back with magic. I'm not saying you do the magic. I'm not saying it's necessarily magical thinking, but it could be a situation where, I don't know, maybe a month down the road, this aunt just shows up again after going on this, the aunt's adventure, right? Having to do some exploring. And then masked mud over here, I think that can be interpreted more so for ant number 612. Again, maybe this ant wasn't living its life as authentically as it wanted to within the confines of the ant colony, or it didn't want to be ant number 612. I don't know. And it was looking for a new identity. And so it has since decided to leave, go on a journey, set a sail to explore and find its true identity, what it really means to be an ant, right? Magic Cat, though, Magic Cat says, hey, you don't have to totally give up on this ant spiritually. It can be there in your heart and thoughts, and perhaps one day it'll just show back up. So the answer is yes and no. I hope that helps. All right, we've got another call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
I've got some very important academic results coming recently, and I just want a reading onto whether these are seemingly good or bad results, and whether it should mean that I should move out from my academics and venture into new prospects, or stay at home within a local setting that I'm more familiar with.
Okay. We'll go ahead and take a look at the television screen there. I think this might be another job for the casting. So academic results, staying home, staying comfortable or not, venturing out, what to do. All right. Oh, well, this is new. Wow. You've got your Garfield of protection. Cat knee pads on his cat knees, facing up, but not exactly towards you. So, if this was coming right at you, I'd say, wow, you really don't want to have a big change. You want to stay right at home. However, over here, in its own stacked orientation, which is almost unheard of, there is the Garfield Outdoorsman facing to your right, and on top of the Garfield Outdoorsman, you have the Leap of Faith. You know, sometimes I think there's a lot more to read in these castings of tarot cards, but sometimes the answer is just really obvious. And I don't think I need to tell you what the answer is. If you've got your Outdoorsman Garf facing right, that's the direction of movement and progress, and you have the Leap of Faith on top of the Outdoorsman. Sounds like you're open to a lot of opportunities, and you've kind of cast your safety, protection, and concerns to the wind. Keep in mind, even if you do pursue something that's away from home, you can always come back. No one says you can't. Or even if you stay home, doesn't mean that you don't have to, doesn't mean you can't ever venture out and leave the safety of your current environment, friends, family, town, all of the above, another time. So, whatever decision you do make, just know that it doesn't have to be the end of the decision that you do make once you do make that decision, if that makes sense for you, right? But yeah, stacked Garf Outdoorsman with the Leap of Faith on top, facing up, both facing in the right direction, and protection Garfield off to the side. Wow. All right, I think we have time for another caller here. Yep, okay. All right, caller, you're on the air.
This is Zoe from Clifton, Colorado.
Mother of 2 fur babies, Huckleberry Finn and Uma Perman, and I would just love the opportunity for a tarot reading from the lasagna-loving Garfield. God bless.
Oh, okay. All right. Zoe, go ahead and take a look at the screen here. The first thing I'm going to need to do is to clear the air and energy that is given off by a dog barking sound. Now, when it comes to doing Garfield readings, it's very important that there are no dogs present nor dog barking sounds. So, excuse me while I go get some lasagna to clear the air. Okay. Now that we've cleared out the energy of the dog barking, let's do your reading here. And it didn't sound like you had a particular question or anything you needed guidance on. So we'll just keep this a little more general. A little past, present, future, you know, a little 3 card. All right. Present, future. Wow. Okay. So, this is the first reading where everything has been in a reverse orientation. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's also the first one where we've seen Pookie. And Pookie is the Betty Bear here. And it's a sign of comfort, peace, and tranquility. And that's what's coming for you in your future. I'm going over to the past here, and we've got the Cap and Cat. It's reversed. Cap and Cat here is, in this orientation, being a reading for you, showing me where there was maybe a period of a lot of structure, rules, a lot of barking orders, if you will, such as a pirate captain would, right? And now that has since changed. And perhaps you're in a new direction where it's a little more free-flowing, a little more peaceful, leading you to Betty Bear, leading you to your Pookie in life, right? So peace, tranquility, and I guess no more of the, again, barking leadership, rules, the stringent day-to-day. But right now, things are a little wild. The wildcat being in the reverse orientation here does show me that there is a move to more peace and tranquility from, if it was facing you, things that were feeling a little more wild in your personal life, perhaps. And so having the wildcat, again, the attitude of 2 intense Garfs in your reading, but then leading to what will be more peace, tranquility, really the coziness that is Pookie and Betty Bear. So, good things coming your way, Zoe. Good things coming your way. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have now. Thank you so much for tuning in to Public Access 12. I will be back here taking your calls. And again, find me this Tuesday at the Circus Reno underneath the clown entrance. All right. Thank you so much. We're on. Thank you for joining us on Teeny's Tarot Corner. I'm your host, Teeny. I will be taking your calls today and performing some Garfield tarot readings as well as castings. And if you would like to see me in person, I will be at the Poconos Palace this upcoming Thursday. Let's go ahead and get started though. Last week I got to do a couple of readings at the Circus Casino. And it went pretty well. It was rather warm, but it was a dry heat. So I'm just going to shuffle the deck briefly here. Well, we had a lot of great callers last week on the show, and I hope more folks will call in today. But before we get started, just need to set some intentions. And I have forgotten my Italian seasoning again this week, but next week I will surely remember it. Okay. I call upon the wisdom of Garfield and friends and the eternal power of lasagna to bring about clarity and insights and a disdain for Mondays. We will now open up the phone lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, I have a question. My husband and our young adult daughter have been butting heads a lot lately. She's home for the summer. And right now they're not really speaking that much, but I'm wondering if I should try and push them together to, make up before she leaves for college, or if I should just let sleeping dogs lie. And also, whose side should I take? I wish I could give more details, but I don't even remember because it's so stupid, the original thing that started it. So yeah, help me out, please.
Yes, well, that's a challenging situation. Go ahead and take a look at the TV set here. I think this is probably best suited for a 3-card draw, and really just trying to find guidance on how to bring harmony to this family. Okay. I see. Okay. Well, the first thing that I'm noticing here is the basket hound Odie in the middle. So this is really showing me that this current situation is causing you a lot of distress. And I think that with the morning cat over here, it's facing you and coming at you. Had it been in the reverse orientation, I would say, oh, maybe you're right, let sleeping dogs lie. But because this is causing you so much distress, it would probably be best to intervene and bring everyone together to let them know that it is affecting you and driving you bonkers. Now, with the morning cat showing some confrontation and aggravation, this is where Magic Cat's going to come in. And this is where you have a Magic Cat in reverse with its magic and spells. Now, I bet as the mother in this situation, you already do a lot of magic for the family. Planning things, special surprises, delicious treats from time to time. And this isn't on you. It's in the reverse orientation. So I suggest you let your family know that the actions and the butting heads, if you will, is causing you a lot of distress, and you would like the two of them to come together to bring some magic for you for once. Perhaps by joining forces to show you that appreciation, they will in turn find a meeting of the minds, or at least retracting their claws, if you will, just for a bit in order to come together to make you happy and not the basket hound. So I suggest having them give that a try. And then if that doesn't work, tell them to cool their jets. That's what I would do. And then there's always the other option of just making everyone come together for a game night and playing Scattergories, because that's fun. And you could take out the frustrations within the game and not have it be something more personal. Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling in. For our next caller.
Meow.
Okay, caller, you're on the air.
This is my first time calling in. I've been working really hard on my final exam studies.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'd really like to ask about the outcome of that.
Okay.
And also, should I get bangs?
Oh.
Thanks in advance.
All right, well, let's take a look. The old should you get bangs. I think looking for a final outcome, I think we'll do a quick drawing for that. And, Odie made, cool cat, bad cat. Okay. Again, these are very two strong Garfield cards to pull, and then the Odie made. Now, we've got a reverse Odie made here. This is telling me right away the exams. I'm seeing that they were successful. I don't know if it's a slam dunk or straight A's, but had it been in the other orientation, I'd say, oh, maybe it's you would be looking for an opportunity for a retake, if you know what I mean. Now, over here, we also have the reverse bad cat. So reverse Odie made and bad cat, I'm seeing good fortune. So that's good fortune coming your way, right? So that's good news for the testing. However, cool cat's coming right at you. And I think that's where your answer comes for the bangs. Now I love bangs. I think they add a lot to any face shape and a lot of interest to the forehead and eyebrow area. However, they can sometimes require certain maintenance. So there's bang trims, right? You gotta keep them cut. Sometimes you have to style them, and the styling can be something that takes up a bit of time. So I would say if it was just about the bangs and the bad cat and cool cat were facing you, maybe definitely go for it. But considering that the cool cat is coming at you, I think it doesn't have to be the bangs if you're considering getting them to look cool. Again, the cool cat comes from the attitude, comes from the styling. And from what I understand, you can sometimes put fake bangs on if you want. Or like take the front of your hair and fold it in half and then pretend that's bangs. It's not the same thing. But again, cool cat Cool cat is cool partially because it comes from the inside. Bad cat is bad because there's a lot of attitude. So I think if you're considering getting bangs, just know that there is some upkeep, some styling, some work that goes into it, because cool cat's just not naturally cool. Cool cat's got style. It's got sophistication. So it's not a yes or a no on the bangs. It's just consider the work and follow-up that will have to go into the bangs should you decide to have them cut. Okay. Hopefully that's helpful. Let's get some more callers going here.
Meow. Meow.
Caller, you're on the air.
I'm thinking about reaching out to an old friend of mine, but I'm worried that we might develop feelings for each other that made it very difficult to remain strictly platonic when we were friends last time. So my question is this a good idea or not? Thank you.
Interesting question. Oh, is this a good idea or not? You know, I think this might be a job for the Garfigurines here. So it sounds like you and this friend already have a history, more than friends. But should you reach out and you want to remain in a platonic friendship, well, okay. Wow. Right off the bat, I'm seeing the leap of faith. So, the leap of faith in this situation is the only figurine that is upright. It sounds to me like you've already made the decision about wanting to reach out. It's really more of a decision about how to remain platonic in this friendship once you do reconnect, right? So that's where you have your outdoorsman and safety Garfield. Garfield of protection is down, outdoorsman is down. And so I think what this is telling me is that it sounds like you want to reach out and you're going to. You've already made up your mind. But perhaps you need to set some guardrails, have some rules, some protocols in place to ensure that you remain platonic friends. So, with the outdoorsman all the way over here, maybe that's saying, oh, well, let's just meet and get together at, a public place, a concert, a daytime occasion would be a good idea. And perhaps this Garfield is saying no to libations, so that might be a good idea as well. So you're remaining in control of the situation and you have a clear head. So I think in this case, if you're going to reach out, you just need to be truthful and honest with yourself. Can you remain in a platonic friendship? And perhaps, with the outdoorsman over here too, perhaps this person that you're going to reach out to may already be in a relationship or have some of their own safety and regulations in place so that you can remain in a platonic friendship with them. So you made your mind up. It's just about you playing it safe, okay? And ensuring you put yourself in situations where things won't be too romantic. Don't go out to an Italian restaurant, okay? Nothing with candlelights, no candlelight suppers, dinners, nothing where someone's going to come over with the violin and serenade you. None of that, okay? something a little more lively in a, oh gosh, perhaps a Pizza Hut. That's not an Italian, I guess that's an Italian restaurant too. A Chuck E. Cheese. There you go. All right.
Meow.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hi, long-time viewer, first-time caller. I have a bunch of duck eggs that I got recently, and I'm not sure what to bake with them. I'm thinking some kind of dessert, but I'm not really sure, and I figured Garfield might have some insight for me on the matter, so thank you.
Okay. In terms of cooking recipes, obviously with duck eggs, you could use them as part of the ricotta mixture for lasagna. Now, that's going to be a Garfield constant as a lasagna dish. However, let's do just a 1-card draw and see what that inspiration might be. Knitting kitty. Okay, well, this is going to be another noodle dish. Now with the duck egg, I believe you could do a pasta, so not a lasagna, but something where, have you ever made your own pasta noodles before? So you can use the egg, the duck egg, as part of that flour mixture. So you're going to need the semolina flour, you're going to need the salt, a good salt, and a good table space that's going to need to be clean and free of any cat hair. Okay, that's important. And in this space, you're going to be rolling out the noodles, right? And using them in a delicious, maybe a spaghetti noodle, maybe a different kind, maybe like a linguine. But then I would use a tomato-based sauce with that. So that's what I'm getting from the Garfield reading here. It's a pretty normal dish, okay, to do a pasta, but I think your duck eggs will add just a subtle intensity to the noodles that you wouldn't get otherwise with a chicken egg. Okay.
Meow.
Okay. All right, caller, you're on the air.
Hey, Garfield. I got some questions about some dating advice. I've been putting my ads in the local paper, some personals, to no avail. No one's responding. I'm wondering, should I put a personal ad in Auto Trader? Maybe someone looking for a truck, a lifted truck that's looking for me, because I'm built kind of similar to a lifted truck. Let me know. Do you think that's a good idea?
Okay. Should you put a dating personal ad in the Auto Trader? Okay, well, all three of these Garfs are face down. And what I'm seeing here, first off, is the outdoorsman Garf. He is facing away from you. And what you should know about outdoorsman Garfield is that he generally rides in a Jeep. And many Jeeps can be lifted, and you'll find a number of used Jeeps in the Auto Trader as well. And this is facing down and away from you. So that would be a good indicator that maybe it's not the best idea. Next up, you have your Garfield of safety and protection here, also face down. Now, that could have something to do with the lifted trucks you speak of. Now, does the lifted truck that is your heart have a roll bar protecting it? Because when you are putting yourself out there in the dating world, you do open up your heart to potential heartbreak, right? So you have your leap of faith facing the protection one, protection facing you, outdoorsman Garf facing away, representing a Jeep driver, right? Now, I think just the way that these are formed in this orientation is really showing me that maybe you're not ready to be the lifted truck that doesn't have a roll bar to not have your heart protected. So maybe give the local paper a couple more tries, but if not, could just be a situation where you put out the ad for a lifted truck another time when you are feeling like you are ready to open your heart in a relationship. Okay. Okay, we've got another call here. All right, caller, go ahead.
Hi, Teeny. I love watching you every Friday on Public Access 12, and I have a question.
Thank you.
I think my cat Bella is a reincarnated movie star from the 40s. Can you tell me who she was in her previous life? Thank you.
Okay. Who was your cat Bella? Now, I don't know how many times I have to tell you this, but I'm not a pet psychic. If you want a really accurate reading on that, it's best to look up Cynthia Beige. Now, she's out in Los Angeles now, but she is a world-renowned pet psychic that can really explore the history of your animal's past lives. However, Garfield does have some, intuitive powers there to help kind of paint a picture of who this cat Bella used to be. And so I think what we can do is draw a card here and see if it offers any insights, but just one card. So who was Bella in a past life? With Morning Cat here, I'm seeing a little bit of attitude, but also it is Garfield, and there's a little bit of orange to Garfield's fur, so it could have been someone that was a natural redhead, or someone that changed their hair color for the times. But here's what I'm thinking. We have the bunny slippers on Morning Cat, and these two adorable little bunny slippers. It's not someone named Bunny, but I'm thinking your cat Bella was probably Rita Hayworth. Just something about the sort of solemn posture, but then the bunny slippers peeking out of the nightgown, and having a playful sort of approach to this card. So Bella was probably Rita Hayworth, but again, I'm not a pet psychic. You gotta reach out to Cynthia Beige about that. So I hope that helps somewhat, at least. And I hope that Bella is in great health and doesn't give you nearly as much attitude as a cat like Garfield would. Let's get these shuffled.
Meow.
Yeah, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, I'm a first-time caller, and I just wanted to ask Garfield about what I should do about the current paranormal situation. There's lights going on and off, doors opening and closing,
So I need to know
happens.
if I should confront the ghost or do I just chill with it. I need to know. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's take a look. Should you confront the ghosts or just deal with it? Sounds like it's causing you a little bit of distress and you want to know how to proceed. So let's take a quick look. Ooh, okay. Yeah, okay, right off the bat. First of all, you've got a paranormal situation happening at your house. And these are all in the reverse orientation. So I think what you should do is not try and alleviate the situation on your own. This is kind of a serious ghost paranormal situation that you might need to get a professional in for. So someone that deals with ghosts, hauntings, etc. I would say have them do the confrontation and not you, because Pookie here in the middle is in the reverse, and Pookie is part of safety, comfort, things that are good, and it's in the reverse, and it's telling me, this is maybe outside of your control and what you might be able to handle. And then the ghost itself, we've got the basket hound here. It's just going to be a challenging ghost to deal with. And if you haven't dealt with, getting proper ghost removal for paranormal activity, then you're going to want to bring in a professional. So the answer is no. Maybe don't confront it. When the lights are blinking, just say, oh, I guess it's just the electricity. Not the time necessarily to go down into a basement to a, one of those electrical boxes and check it out, right? Just, I don't see anything. Nothing to see here. So that's my advice for you based on this reading, though. Based on this reading.
Meow.
Oh. Caller, go ahead.
I'm hoping to get a little guidance from the Garf deck on an issue that's been bothering me for a couple months now. So I recently bought a home with my boyfriend and everything has been going pretty well, except we found out that the basement has a high radon reading. For this reason, we haven't really been using the basement until we get a mitigation system installed. Now, to complicate the situation, we've recently discovered that a spirit has been occupying the basement. Her name is Jerica. Okay. And I believe her to be a middle-aged lady based on our apparent common interests. So, for example, sometimes we'll be upstairs and all of a sudden we can smell the sourdough bread baking, and it seems to be coming from down in the basement, but when we go down there to investigate, it just disappears completely. Also, I've been keeping my craft bags down there, including a bag that has this kind of half-finished crochet afghan. So I went down there the other night to retrieve an extra roll of paper towel, and when I went down there, there was yarn just all over the basement floor. I hadn't touched it. I didn't do it. But when I flipped on the light, the yarn actually spelled her name, which is how I know that she's named Jerica.
Oh.
Anyway, so my question for the Garf deck is the high radon level in the basement a risk to Jerica or any other spirit that may be occupying down there? I certainly don't want to hurt her, and if we need to expedite the mitigation system, that's what we got to do to protect Jerica. I don't know how these things work. I don't know if radon's bad for spirits, so any guidance on that topic would be really appreciated. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Sure. Okay. Wow, well, another supernatural occurrence and basement, so I don't know. Let me just shuffle these real quick. What to do about the radon and how to protect Jerica. So, cat and cat, Betty Bear, smart cat. Okay. Wow. these are all coming right at you. Now, we just talked about Betty Bear and the confrontation and a sense of protection and comfort. And I can tell you want to protect Jerica in this situation and make sure that her spirit is safe. Then I'm also seeing Captain Cat and Smart Cat here. And what this is telling me is that these are facing you, but it's for you to take that action. And I think, the smart move would be to really start some sort of radon abatement program, mitigation. But that's not for you to do. That's to leave up to the professionals, the captains, if you will, of radon mitigation. So I would say the best way forward is to protect Jerica, is to probably get the radon situation taken care of, maybe not just for Jerica and Jerica's sake in the basement, but for the sake of anyone in the house, and have a professional do that. And honestly, if you don't already, maybe get a sump pump put in. I don't know. That way, if there's ever a flood, it's not going to cause a major disturbance in the basement and bother Jerica in her sourdough bread baking or any sewing and crafting. And it might also be a good idea, a smart idea, to leave some additional craft supplies, perhaps knitting needles, maybe start a game of bridge with Jerica, and that will really strengthen your relationship with this ghost. I hope that helps. Okay. Gosh, busy day on the program. Thank you for calling into Teeny's Tarot Corner today on Public Access 12. I think we have time for one more call.
Meow.
Caller, go ahead.
Hello, my name is Andrew from Wisconsin.
Hi, Andrew.
And I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller. I love this channel and everything that you're doing with it. Please keep up the great work. And I would just really love a tarot reading from Garfield the cat and yourself. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Okay. All right, well, Andrew from Wisconsin, you got it. Let me just really shuffle this up. All right, I think I can just do a 3-card reading. Betty Bear, Wildcat, and Morning Cat. A lot of Morning Cat today. Well, Andrew, what I'm seeing here, this is your past, present, your future, right? Just doing a 3-card. Past, we've got reverse orientation, Morning Cat. Morning being the start of the day, the start of new beginnings. So perhaps you've taken on something new, whether it's hobbies, new relationship, a new place you're living, a new job, things of that nature. So there's something new there. And in the reverse orientation, it's not a bad thing. It's just a new start. And since that new start has taken place, you've had a bit of a wild time. 2 strong Garfield personalities here with these 2 Garf cards. Wildcat being in the reverse orientation. Things maybe haven't been too exciting, but maybe they've actually even been kind of boring. And so sometimes when things are boring, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Had this been in the orientation where it's facing you, I would say, well, maybe you need a little bit more peace, a little relaxation. But that's what's coming to you anyway with Betty Bear. A sense of finding a Pookie. So it could be a relationship where you're finding your Pookie, or a situation where you've got a good relationship with yourself. And so what I'm seeing right here is a journey that you've been on where there's been a change. Things are pretty calm right now, boring maybe even. And then it's going to lead to stability in relationships, whether with others or yourself, and a sense of calm and coziness through the Pookie with Betty Bear. All right, well, that's all the time we have today, folks. Again, thank you for tuning in to Teeny's Tarot Corner on Public Access 12, and we hope to hear from you soon. Hello, and welcome to Teeny's Tarot Corner. I'm your host, Teeny, and I thank you for tuning in to Cable Access 12 for the program today. Now, in just a moment, we'll go ahead and open up the phone lines for all of your Garfield-related tarot readings and castings today. But before we do that, I did want to let you know that if you'd like a live reading, I will be at the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo this upcoming Thursday in the dining room from 2 to 2:25 p.m. So, hope to see you there. Otherwise, you can give me a call today. Now to go ahead and get the Garfield table set up for readings. Just a little bit of Italian seasoning. Just to clear the energy. It's a new Garfield tablecloth I'm using today. Oh, so fragrant. Okay. All right. Okay. I call upon the wisdom of Garfield and friends and the eternal power of lasagna to bring about change, clarity, and direction, and a disdain for Mondays. Okay, let's go ahead and open up the phone lines.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you're on Teeny's Tarot Corner.
Okay. Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm a Libra, obviously. And I seriously need the universe to, level with me right now, okay? So after cheer practice today, right after the pep rally, when the gym was still totally packed, I found this random note in my caboodle, and it said, "Hey, I'm totally into you. Are you into me? Call me or meet me tonight at 6 p.m. at Hot Dog on a Stick." Okay, and now I am freaking out because, it could be that guy who works there, the one with, the pizza base and, that visor hat thing, and he's, always watching me while I'm sipping my lemonade. It's major yikes. Anyway, but also it might be my actual crush because, he hangs out there, too. He's like the popular guy. He's got that like windswept hair, feathered thing, and the varsity jacket. Just like total movie star smile. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
everything when I am around him goes into slow motion, very like take my breath away. You know what I mean? And like I swear to God, like he was totally watching me during the rally.
Right.
Like he finally noticed I existed today. So I need the cards to tell me, is the note from Fry Guy or from my dream guy? Should I like go meet him at the food court today, or just like stay home watching Moonlighting? Because whatever the cards say, I'm gonna trust it. I'm gonna trust it. Okay.
Okay.
Oh my God. Okay.
Great.
Let me know. Bye.
All right, Tiffany. Okay. Good. So, is it your, whoops. So is it your dream guy, or is it the fella at the hot dog at the, oh sorry, it's not you're going to meet at Hot Dog on a Stick, but is it the fella that works there, stares at you, or your dreamboat, the popular guy with the windswept hair? Well, you know, I think this calls for a 3 card and upside down wildcat, Betty Bear, cow cat. Okay. Well, right off the bat, I see that no matter who it is that you're going to meet at Hot Dog on a Stick, it's going to be your Pookie. Now, does that mean that it is this dreamboat, you know, the straightforward cow cat? I'm thinking, you know, cowboy, rugged, popular, the standard for handsomeness, right? And then that's actually in a regular orientation facing you with Pookie in the middle. However, we've got Wildcat. And Wildcat is in the reverse orientation. And so what I think is going to happen here, to my best guess, Tiffany, is that I know you're going into this meeting at Hot Dog on a Stick hoping that your Pookie will be the heartthrob of the school, right? The popular fella. But in fact, you know, it might throw you for a loop, a wild card, a wildcat, Garfield. And you might have to go out on a limb, right? And give this other fella a try. Now, why do I say that? Well, because it's in the reverse orientation, it's showing me that it's not going to be exactly what you expect, but in the long run, it's going to be a mate that is a sure thing. Someone that is going to wrangle you and lasso your heart, but it's not going to be exactly who you'd expect. Okay, so you're keeping an open mind here. But you know, when you get to Hot Dog on a Stick, maybe it's neither of those who you expected, and someone who you didn't know at all. And you just that's part of taking chances, right? Well, best of luck to you. If nothing else, I'm seeing that you're probably going to have a really great corn dog. So I would call that a win. Okay, thank you for calling, Tiffany. Well, let's go ahead and see who our next caller is.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Hi, I'm a big fan of your channel and the Garfield
thank
tarot
you.
readings, and I'm hoping that Garfield can help with my anxiety about a part of my social life coming up. So I'm a recent college graduate, and I had some really great friends in college. And now that we've graduated, unfortunately, we've all moved to different states, and we're very busy. So it's hard for us to see each other often, and you know, we're having to schedule phone calls, and it's just harder to be connected all the time. So I'm actually starting medical school tomorrow, and I'm really worried about being able to find friends in medical school who will, of course, be my kind of people, and people who you know I can support and will be able to support me for the next 4 years, because you know medical school is very difficult and it's a big commitment. And so I know a lot of the incoming students are kind of reaching out on group chats, and they're going to parties, and they're meeting people that way. But I'm kind of introverted, so I kind of struggle in that sort of social situation, social setting. And so I'm really worried about fitting in and finding my group of people when I start school tomorrow, and just finding people that I can spend the next 4 years with, and hopefully the rest of my life we can maintain friendships. So hoping Garfield can shed light on, this anxiety that I have and whether or not I'll be able to make friends in my new medical school community.
I think this might be more of a room casting situation here versus the cards, because it sounds like you have a lot of concerns about finding your friends, finding companionship, and so let's see if these Garfield figurines can cast some light onto this for us. Okay, so will you find a new group of friends in medical school? Okay. All right. I have here Leap of Faith. That's the first one that's jumping out to me. Leap of Faith is facing in a direction that its head is towards you, the viewer, on Public Access 12. And then Outdoorsman Garf is down, face down, showing some hesitation, some reservation, but pretty close to Leap of Faith. So it's almost as if the hand is reaching out from Leap of Faith to Outdoorsman. Okay? And looking at this, I believe, you mentioned something about group chats. I'm not familiar with what that is. Perhaps that's something where, some people meet in a group and then they talk amongst themselves. But it sounds like a good opportunity for a social connection, for sure. So maybe what you could do is find a situation where there are opportunities for a group to chat. Now, Leap of Faith being face up, ready for anything here, and Outdoorsman face down. I'm thinking when you're at college, it's medical school, I bet there's going to be a number of, bulletin boards, things with signage where people have put up flyers. Perhaps it's on a telephone post, maybe in the common room of some sort of apartment building or complex. But I think Leap of Faith is ready to take a look at something that's on that board and maybe give it a try. It might be something that you haven't done before, but I think it's going to be something you do inside. Maybe it's joining a synchronized swimming team, because that's indoors, generally an indoor pool. Perhaps it is a book club. Those are usually inside, but sometimes those can be outside as well. If it's not a book club or synchronized swimming team, there's always Toastmasters, which frankly I find to be pretty scary. It would make me kind of anxious, but I could certainly use that myself, as I do say a whole lot on this television program. But I have seen flyers for it before. So Leap of Faith is showing me that you're ready to try something that is, again, over here, safety Garfield, cat knee pads, face up. You're okay with trying something that's outside of your safety, taking a leap of faith, but maybe it's more of an indoor activity. And within that group, I do hope that you find some folks that you can group chat with or play a game. Maybe it's a card game. I don't know. I don't know what the kids in medical school do these days, but take a look at the bulletin board and see what's going on, and then take a leap of faith and give it a try. All right? All right, well, thanks for calling in. And let's see if we've got another caller here.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hi. I love your channel. So the past year of my life has been objectively not great. I wanted to know if there's
Mhm.
anything in the future coming up that is a bit of a ray of hope. This is in regards to relationship and or career.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's
you.
take a look. So relationship and or career. Can you imagine if your career was a relationship? In a way it is. It can be a job. But I think when you find the right person, it doesn't feel like a job, right? Gosh, having a tough time, having a tough year. So let's see what the Garf deck has to say with a quick 3 card. 3 card draw here. Okay. Space mutt. Masked mutt. Cat and cat. Okay. Well, cat and cat is the first thing jumping out at me here, because this is the cat of taking charge. Now, sounds like you've already had some time to reflect on things that may have not worked out well in terms of relationships and or careers. But Captain Cat's showing me it's time to take charge in a new direction. Perhaps that direction is the uncharted territories that a pirate would traverse. So this might be a situation where, in terms of a career, not so much looking at space mutt, but the masked mutt. Masked mutt's in reverse. Okay. If it was facing towards you in the normal orientation, I'd say, well, keep doing what you're doing, stay in a similar field. Captain Cat's telling me traverse something new. Perhaps in your previous role or in your current job, you're having to put on airs, right? You're having to be a person that you're not. That's what Masked Mutt is telling me. And so having it in the reverse, it's time to put that behind you and move into a career path that you can, either chart for yourself, perhaps it's uncharted territory, or it's just new for you, and take charge of that, okay? Space Mutt over here, well, this is showing me that maybe you're not being as realistic as you could be with your relationship expectations, right? Because are you thinking that the person in this relationship is going to be out of this world? Space Mutt. Are they, an astronaut? No, they're not. Is this person, on the same planet as you? Are you speaking the same, the same language in this relationship? So in your relationship or going into a new one, have those earthbound expectations, okay, for any prospective partner. And ensure that, you're being realistic with what this partner can be in your life as well, okay? All right, but good things coming your way. Changes, changing expectations. It's always about change here on Teeny's Tarot Corner. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes?
Hi, Teeny. I really appreciate your support at this time in my life, and I'm a big fan of what you do. I just want to say that I'm in the middle of a big spiritual crisis where I feel like my life doesn't have a lot of direction to it. Because I've been looking through a lot spiritually. I've been going back and forth between Calvin and Hobbes, Charlie Brown and Peanuts comics, and Garfield is something that's calling to me. I feel his call and his pull. I've been craving lasagna lately, and I feel like this is a sign.
Right.
Do you think you could bless me with a bit of Italian seasoning and do a bit of a minifigure reading, perhaps, so that I can get a direction of what Garfield wants from my life and what he's indicating? I would love that from you. Thank you so much.
You've got it. You got it. Okay. Well, just keep tuned into the program here. This is your Italian seasoning blessing. All right. What do the Garfield figurines hold in store for you? Spiritually? Let's see. Okay. Wow. I like this. I like this sign because your outdoorsman Garf is just about on its side. You're in, you're out, you're open. You're open to what's next. And you're going places. So that's exciting. Your safety Garfield, your Garfield of comfort, safety. I'm seeing how it's also going towards the outdoorsman Garf, but it's also in between leap of faith. So you've got a good head on your shoulders right now. And I think that's really important as you're, traversing maybe new beliefs and your spirituality and open to new ideas. So these two figurines really balancing one another. So the leap of faith and the reverse orientation is not showing me that you're not ready to take a leap of faith, but instead you're leaping away from the beliefs of the Kathy, the ex, the humorous comics that don't have that same positive influence and essence of lasagna that you might be needing in your life right now. So this is all, I'm seeing a good thing here with this orientation. I'm also seeing an arc. So I think with this shape like that, it's really showing me you're reaching an arc of taking the next step, a new chapter, a new you. And so to you, I say lasagna blessings, Italian seasoning zestings, yeah, and good tidings and pookie. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, another caller. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Let me just say, I love your show. I wanted to call today to consult the cards. I really just feel so behind for my age. I'm dealing with a lot of health issues and want to know if I will be successful in creating the life I want and having the courage to step out of my safety zone and fight for it.
Well, let's take a look. Okay, I think this is more of a job for a 3-card reading. So it sounds like you've been, oh dear, sounds like you've been dealing with a lot. And it sounds like you're hoping for a different direction. Let's see what the cards say about this. Knitting kitty, morning cat, space mutt again. How about that? Interesting. So we have another space mutt, but this time it's in a regular orientation. And I think what that's showing me here is that things are going to be out of this world for you in a great way. So good things coming your way, right? Now your morning cat, this is tricky because it is in the reverse orientation. It can be a sign of change. Mornings, a new day, sun rising, earth spinning, all of that business. And in your case, being in the reverse orientation, I think it means that you are in that period of change right now, which is good, but it doesn't probably feel great. So you will get there to where things are out of this world. But right now things are a little rocky and maybe not having the best time, right? Like a sluggish morning, not feeling great. But sometimes, moving over to the knitting kitty, you've got Nermal here. Nermal's full of spunk and attitude and chutzpah. And so taking some direction from Knitting Kitty into what you can carry into the future here is finding what gives you energy, what gives you life and excitement. Is it roller skating? Is it reading a really good book? Is it perhaps making lasagna? Or maybe it's something that's, a little different. Gosh, I don't know. Collecting fall leaves and then pressing them in a book and then making some sort of a craft out of them later on once they're fully dried, but then sort of malleable. And maybe you make like a train. I think that would look nice. Train made out of leaves. Anyways, my point is that you need to find what gives you that spark, what gives you that feeling of zest in your life, so you can get out of this morning cat situation where you're in this period of change and move on to where things really feel stellar, right? The space mine. So, sounds like you're having a rough time, but good things coming your way. Find what brings you that joy and excitement. Get through those tough, sluggish mornings. Get through that challenging change. Out of this world. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. Yes.
Hi there. I'm calling because I'm experiencing some marital issues. My husband and I can't agree on a name for the kitten we just adopted. I want to call him Garfield. My husband wants to name him Heathcliff. My husband is threatening to divorce me over this. What should I do?
Oh boy. Okay. Great. Okay. Well, all right. Now we both know that would be a pretty silly reason to get a divorce. What to name the cat, Heathcliff or Garfield? I'm going to do a 1-card draw. And this 1-card draw is going to help you name your cat. Okay? And come to the agreement that you shouldn't name the cat either one of those names, okay? Because then it would be sort of a one-sided, there's a winner in the situation, and this makes it a little bit more equal, not egalitarian. What's the word there? I don't know. The point is, I'm going to break the cards, cut the deck, okay? And the card that I pull will give you some options for a name. Okay, here goes. Now, you could name the cat Reverse Magic Cat. That doesn't make sense. But what is Magic Cat? You might be thinking to yourself, oh, well, we should name the cat Garfield because it's a Garfield card. Well, that's not fair because you called the Garfield Tarot card reader. That's me, Jeannie. But actually, come to think of it, whoever's going to be cleaning the litter box and taking the cat to the vet, they get the final say on the name. Right. Anyways, Magic Cat. Your cat could be named Lightning. Your cat could be named Spellbook. You could name the cat Magic. What's magic spelled backwards? Kigum? Sigum? Okay, yeah. You can name your cat Beard. Cool Hat. Or a little more on the nose, maybe Merlin. Merlin's a good cat name because it's a wizard, right? It's a magic cat. So yeah, Merlin. That's what you should name your cat. Case closed. Okay. Oh, we have time for one more caller.
Yeah.
Yeah, caller, go ahead.
I'm a huge fan of the channel, and I was really wanting to know what the Garfield cards have to say about my son Hans. He's starting a new job soon, and I'm a bit concerned that he's going to be lost. going into full-time work.
Okay.
I would love to hear more about what the cards have to say.
Sure. So your son Hans, starting a new full-time job. Shuffled here. And a 3-card Teddy Bear, Knitting Kitty. Uh-oh, Concat. Right. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say uh-oh, but yeah, that's jumping out at me first. It's a Concat draw where Garfield Concat is in reverse here. And it's not Concat towards you, the viewer. I'm assuming Hans is there. Sometimes that's not how these drawings will work, because you want the person who's in the situation to ask about the thing, right? What this is showing me, though, and given that you, the one asking the question about your son, is maybe this is geared towards you, but it's time to cut that chain, right? Sounds like you're the one that's more concerned about your son's full-time employment, but really time to let those feelings go and let Hans kind of explore what the real world is. And what is the real world? It's full-time, gainful employment, right? It's a long day at the office. Unless you're a full-time Garfield psychic like myself, which are very few and far between. So this is not about Hans, this is about you. In here we've got Knitting Kitty, okay? So again, we see the ball of twine. We're showing two of the Garfield cards showing there's baggage, there's holding on to something, there's knots, things are tied up within one another. And that's where, again, have to let go, let Hans make mistakes, maybe decide that he doesn't like this job, but know that deep down inside everything will be okay. And that's where the Betty Bear comes in. Now it's a reverse Betty Bear, because this Betty Bear isn't so much for you, but this one is for Hans. He's gonna be fine. He's gonna have Pookie protection, that love that you do have for Hans, and that shows that you care about your son. However, don't worry about it. He's gonna be okay. Time to let go, cut that ball and chain, unravel those family concern twines, things of that nature, and just know that he's gonna be all right. Okay. That's all the time we have today on Teeny's Tarot Corner. Again, I'll see you this upcoming Thursday if you are at the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo, California. I'll be in the dining room from 2 to 2:25 p.m. All right. Thanks for tuning in.